Bro, honestly, I cannot believe on like how crazy like the community of TD is getting right now. Like, bro, sending death threats to like the creators and like everyone who works on Reborn is just pathetic, honestly. Why? I don't really know like the full like info on that. I just know that people were apparently. Don't know why. Don't know like the who exactly. I don't know if it's just the owners or if it's literally everyone. But like, bro, that is crazy and just pathetic, honestly, man. Also, this right here is just regular TD. Yeah, it's just old gameplay. Well, not old, but still. Definitely, it's not reborn anyway. The game was buggy. I'm not gonna say it wasn't, but it wasn't as bad as people were acting. Yeah, it was unplayable somewhat, but at the same time, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good or anything, but it wasn't horror endless either. Oh, like, I don't get it, man. People were just overreacting a bit, not like fully. Like, I have good reason to be upset about it. However, they kind of were. You gotta remember, the TD itself took months and months to get like that, like 1.1 to 1.2, and to 1.2 to 1.3 took months. Even 1.2 to 1.3 didn't take nearly as long, but still, that's because they already had like the rough gist of the game already, compared to Reborn, which had to make the game from scratch. And this is proof the fact that the game's still not even kind of completely done, and it's proof that they made it from scratch, or at least mostly from scratch. You know, either that or there's genuinely horror engines at making games. Think about that. Really think about that. Yeah. You got, it started 2 months before TD got taken down. You could see like the time and everything of when it started getting made and everything. And yet it looks like this. That's because it's only been what, like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months in development, which was about average. I think the same that like from, like the TD, like the 0.78 went from, not exactly from, but from 1 point, what was I saying? Oh yeah, 0.7 or whatever, 0.78 or whatever it was before it was 1.2. It was the 1.2. It took like at least like a few months, like 4 or 5 months. And then if you want to compare it to 1.2 to 1.3, it was at least a couple months. And if you want to, which yeah, it makes sense. The game was already there. It existed before that. If you want to talk about like what was it, the potential of it being like potential of it being from 1.1 to 1.2 like fully, it was a year at least. The game was fully remade. And like even then, assuming you want to like take that argument, there's still the argument to be made of the game still had code. Like there's still code that was valid from 1.1 that went to 1.3. Not much of it, but some of it, I would imagine. You know, and also just animations in general. Like, textures, icons. Well, yeah, icons probably too. UI stuff like that was still there from 1.1. Some of it, not much of it, but still had at least something to work with compared to Reborn, which doesn't have anything to work with. Also, another thing is the fact that Reborn, yeah, it's true, it wasn't the best thing in the world on release. It wasn't horrible, Now, on the plus side, this does kind of erase the allegations of it just stealing code from TD because, TD didn't have these types of bugs, so where did they come from? You Obviously, that means that they had to make their own code. And at which point I say, yeah, that's exactly what happened. You know? For a brief minute, I thought that they did that. I'm kind of hoping everyone else did until I realized that's really stupid, especially considering like the game's been in development before TD like got taken down. So they wouldn't have just stolen the code to try and remake TD before TD was gone. So they clearly were going to make their own fan game before that, and then they were like, "Oh wow, huh, that's convenient." And my game was going to be really similar to TD, so just make it TD Reborn, Something like that. I don't know how it actually worked, but I'm just giving an example of what I think probably happened. But either way, what probably and like the fact that they had like 5 or 6 months is about on par for what TD had. And yeah, I guess, but like I said, they probably need at least like a whole month extra. And are they going to take that? Probably not. They're probably gonna take at most like a week or two. Like as it is, I'm pretty sure someone said that they're gonna take like 4 to 5 days, which means 4 to 5 days is 4 to 5 days is not very long to fix bugs. I think personally that they need a lot more time. However, whatever. If a game actually looks okay and has minor bugs, then that's a huge win on their part. Like if they can somehow make it work and not have many bugs, I will personally say that I'll personally think that they did a really good job. Like on a scale of 1 through 10 as it is, they did like a 6. Like the game looks okay. Like aside from like the bugs and stuff. And trust me, I saw my fair share of bugs. I saw a Knuckles that was upside down. I yeah, I saw my fair share of bugs, and I had my fair share of complaints in my video. Where like the one for example where Eggman's starting to shoot from all angles, as long as they're in range, and like how like you could sometimes knock it down, classic stuff like that. It was just annoying. Yeah, I agree though that those weren't good, but no reason like send death threats and stuff. There's no reason to really send death threats in general, except unless like that's like the nuclear option basically. Like it's like the last resort if someone's really that bad. Like they better hope that they're like doing like things that are borderline crimes, and even then you're gonna be like it's gonna be controversial probably depending on what it is. Like I'm not saying that it's a good idea to ever do that, but at the same time, it's never gonna be a good idea to do that. I can only see reasons at times of why you might consider doing it, or why you might think it's a good idea. Here, I don't see it. I genuinely don't see it. What if they do wrong? They just try to make a game. They just try to remake a game, which they kind of did. Keyword being kind of. They did, but didn't at the same time. Like at the same time, I gotta really think about this because I don't know what's going through their peanut-sized brains that makes them think that that was a good idea to try and do that. I just don't understand, man. Also, another thing, the fact that I don't know, people are just I don't even know honestly at this point, man. People are just upset that the game got taken down, not taken down, but like put like in privated for a second, so it could be bug fixed. And said like, why doesn't it get stay up so we could at least have the bugged version, so we could at least have fun with it, and then quickly take it down, like not take it down, but update it with all the bug fixes. So just say that's a good argument, that's potential, but at the same time, it wouldn't happen because, well, why would they do that? Not why would they? It's just the fact that they probably already feel bad about how like much of a failure that was. So they're probably not gonna want people to keep living in their failure. There's already massive news. Probably a lot of people knew, but yet they don't want to like have people to just constantly like complain about it and make fun of them or any. They already made fun of it. They already had enough like crap thrown at them for that. They don't need more probably. By the way, this is not me defending the game, and it's still not great for me at least. Like it's it at least created the game though, But I'm not saying they did it well or anything really. They did it okay. They did it mediocrely, I guess. It wasn't anything amazing or anything. The main complaint obviously being the fact that the game, is bugged out completely. There's missing things, missing UI. Well, actually, probably missing UI too, but it's like I don't even know, blood everywhere. And there's probably tons of exploiters too, because it's probably way worse than like TD, I would imagine. And I don't even know, man. There's probably so much more that I haven't seen. I've seen a lot, not just in my experience, but like on like short little videos or and stuff. And honestly, I don't know why everyone's just, like jumping up like immediately to saying like the game was horrible and the way they released it and everything was horrible, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't good, but it wasn't that bad, man. Honestly, like there's definitely worse versions. There's definitely worse like releases out there probably. Now another thing that people have been saying that I personally think is a good potential is the fact that when they like, initially released, like they were not released, but when they were initially testing it and stuff, The game was fine for the most part. There's minor bugs that they occasionally found, but nothing horrible. They probably fixed it. Like fixed anything they found, obviously, and then when they actually released it, it turned out they didn't fix everything because, well, stuff. Obviously, the difference between Studio and Roblox itself is the fact that you'll find bugs and you'll patch them there, and then they'll reappear in Roblox itself. You got to figure out, like post test maps. I guess that's what some people were saying that they didn't do, but they should have done. They test maps so that way they can test the stuff, the bugs, and see if they fix it or not. I guess, or just put the whole game there and see if it works or not. See what bugs appear that they tried to fix that didn't get removed, and then fix them. Stuff like that. To be fair, I have no idea if TD actually had one of those or not. That's the thing. They probably did, but still, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, what I don't really get is why people like so against not against, but like, oh, what the hell. I didn't even notice that initially when when I grabbed that clip. I genuinely didn't. This is TD, by the way. See, that bug happens in TD itself. Not an excuse, but I was gonna say though, I don't know why people were like so. I don't even know. Just people like saying stuff like on how the game it's horrible because of the bugs, which I have probably said this like 2 or 3 times now. I don't think it was horrible with the bugs. Let me get this right. Say this again. I don't think it was horrible. Do I think it was good? Hell no. I don't think it was good, but I don't think it was horrible either. Like on a scale of 1 through 10, like I said, like a 6. Uh, Who like anything below a 5 is horrible, probably. It did the game. It did the game at least some kind of justice by making it. By making sure that people at least could play it for a little bit. You know, and I mean, given there's a lot of problems with it, I'm not exactly happy about what they did to Metal. Like in both senses, with grapple and push. Grapple is not really working for me. It worked once. I tried Metal like for 1 round though, given, but still. I hit like 3 or 4 grapples at least, and well, I pulled like Tilt Doll, not Tilt Doll. I think it was like Small AC. I think I pulled Sonic once, and that's it. And the others, one just simply didn't do anything enough. Just stunned him for a second. Like, I don't even know. Either way, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm happy about what they did, but at the same time, man, there's no reason to be this like acting like they did the worst job ever. Stuff like that. At which point, you make a game. You make the game like this. Go ahead, genuinely make TD Reborn. Go join the dev team, or hell, make your own version of it. I'm telling you, people are already doing that. You can not. You can join like the groups or join, not join, but like you can make your own. Go ahead, try. Make your own team. Get your own team together and everything. People that know what they're doing to an extent and everything, and then try and make the game and see on how well it turns out. Because I'm telling you now, game development is hard. I'm not the only one who says this, and I shouldn't be having to say this because I shouldn't be talking because I don't know. I'm not a game developer. I've never made a game. Yet even I know game development is hard. Honestly, man, at this point, for the most part, I think I've covered everything that I've wanted to say. I'm just at this point just ranting about nothing. You can probably click off if you watch this far, honestly. But all I'm trying to say is that Reborn itself, they did a decent job. On a scale of 1 through 10, I'm gonna say this again just to make sure people actually know. 6 out of 10. That's not great, but it fits. Honestly, it's a pretty good rating for what I got to witness, what I got to play, what I got to see, what horrors I saw with Knuckles upside down as an EXE, and the turrets. God, the turrets. That's like PTSD already. That's enough trauma for for mental asylum basically. But what else was I saying? Oh yeah, other things that I'm just gonna complain about now about it though, just to prove that I really don't. I'm not trying to defend it or anything. This is just proof right here. What I'm about to say. So, for example, the fact that Amy's hammer spin didn't there's no real knockback systems it seemed for the most part. Well, somewhat. Shadow occasionally did knockback. Amy's hammer spin. I never saw it knock back. I saw Amy being played every round I think I played. Maybe one she wasn't being played. But I only played like 3 or 4 rounds, so. But another thing is the fact that the damages, like like the end screen, I don't know if it was right or not. No, I have no idea. Also, another thing, if bugs are a problem for every game, obviously. Like DC has a few bugs. One of them being a very simple one, where I saw two Sonics. One had 0 seconds. It was the same person, just with two Sonics on like the end screen. Like that's a basic bug that they didn't fix, that they just didn't know about. Obviously, bugs happen. Bugs appear out of nowhere. Okay? Anyway, another thing that was a problem is just in metal in general. His whole like identity. For example, when he was trying to push, it just didn't feel right. When he was, what else? When he was like grappling, like I already mentioned, the hitboxes felt unfair. I just couldn't hit Amy or like Blaze the entire game. Also, like their icons were constantly down no matter what. And then sometimes, they wouldn't get revived, obviously. Um, Other times those hitboxes were unfair. No, they're never unfair for survivors, or with the EXE that was screwed over with them. But another thing is that like the Telltale Slash, it was horrible. It was like it worked. I just didn't notice it because like it didn't make the sound effect. That's another problem. The lack of sound effects or anything. I need those, like we all do probably, because I don't know if I hit something or not. It's just also really weird to me whenever I don't hear sound after me getting a regular hit on someone, or me like getting a grapple on someone or a push. You know, but yet the push sound effect itself was playing. I just couldn't. I don't know. It just didn't feel right to me. Other things, the fact that like a blaze just was like whenever you get stunned by a blaze, it just sounded like Knuckles punching you. Uh, whenever like I don't know, whenever you'd like, let me think real quick. Like a Silver's orb. Silver's orb was just genuinely like a hell, like a monstrosity of something. Like it was genuinely awful just to see. Like for anytime so I saw a silver throw the orb, they just genuinely like it would go flying, it would hit them, and it would keep going, it would go through like the EXE, which I mean I kind of think it's cool ish, but I don't know if it was intentional or not. It's an idea. It's a cool idea though, if it was, and if it wasn't, maybe they should look into that actually, because I personally think that's a really good idea. Honestly, like an orb that just goes through, so you can get like collaterals, but just make the cooldown a little bit more than you know. Like the cooldown a little bit more and the stun time slightly more, like 1.5 seconds or something for like a cooldown of like 25. Well, that'd still be god awful, but whatever. Maybe like for a cooldown of like 23 because it can do collaterals. You can hit multiple EXEs. That's not really that good though. It's just more like cool for trick shots. It's kind of like Amy in like 1.0 when she only had her hammer attack and hammer throw. Which I mean, yeah, that's actually a pretty good comparison because it wasn't really good to have a hammer throw back then. I don't think, was it? Maybe it was, but it was kind of like it was mostly just for style, like to hit the EC, be like, haha, I'm better than you. I guess I don't know. Anyway, just in general though, the game had massive problems. Like also, another silver bug is that when he placed his wall, the EXE just went right through it. Like he just like charged through it with no issues. He didn't get stunned or anything. The wall was still up. Nothing happened. Also, when Eggman's turret kept broke, they remained there for a couple seconds. And also, whenever they get broke, his cooldown starts. He didn't get a cooldown whenever they're like he places one, he can immediately place another one. Only when he gets like a broken, then he has a cooldown. His also yeah, you can stun the EXE when the EXE is stunned. You can zap the EXE when the EXE is like stunned. So it just is really easy. Um, Pretty sure. I don't know. Actually, the slash was a little bit finicky, but it did work. I just couldn't notice it because of the lack of sound effects or anything, man. Um, like the Tails, like not Tails, Sonic Spin Dash was weird in general. His his like hits. It felt just a little bit not like it didn't feel like TD even when like stuff wasn't breaking or anything. I never got to see a Colossus round because I only got like 3 rounds then before it just stopped working. Anyway, I'm getting bored yapping. That's gonna wrap it up. See ya.